I have finally reached the age where I can afford to do all the stupid things I couldn't do when I was a teenager. Case in point. This is an American General 5-ton M813. Model number is M813. It's an M809 series military truck. And it has about 16,000 original miles on it, and with engine hours of about 536. It is 21,000 pounds and 25 feet long. This particular model did not come with a winch, although it does have the power takeoff. No, it does have the transfer case. All I have to do is rig up a power takeoff, and the bumper will come off, and I can extend it, put the winch on it. Eventually, I will be going down that road, but for now, I just want to get to know it. I just want to use it as a general utility vehicle. I'm not, it's not my daily driver. So when my daily driver's in the shop, I want to be able to use this. I was looking for a vehicle that I could register as an antique, or rather that I could insure as an antique, that wouldn't be expensive to own, that would be easy to wrench on, that I could still get parts for at a reasonable price. And I figured if you're going to get lousy gas mileage in an antique, why not just go for broke, so to speak? And that diesel prices of $6 a gallon, that's pretty much where I'm going. I insured this through Hagerty. I have in the past insured antique wooden boats through Hagerty. It was $205 a year. I've limited myself to 2,500 miles per year, which comes up to about 25 miles a week. Now, I really don't want to go further than 25 miles a week on this. I'm just trying to get to know it. It's 250 horsepower NHC Cummins engine. Now, the weird thing about this is that when I registered with Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles, I described it to them. For body type, I put other. Now, the Commonwealth doesn't accept other anymore, so I was kind of at a quandary. I didn't know how to explain this to them, and exactly what it was. I mean, I put down on the registry and on the title the year, 1976, the maker, American General, the model name, 5-ton, and the model number, M813. There was nothing on the registry for weight or number of axles, number of wheels. The person I was talking to asked me, so describe the truck. Well, I told her that the bed in the back had 3 walls and a tailgate. So she said, so it's a pickup truck. Well, if you say so. So that's what came back with the title. Body type, pickup truck. A 25-foot long, 6-wheel drive, 250 horsepower, 10-foot tall pickup. Who am I to argue? Projects. First project on this truck, truck. First project on this truck was building a new battery box cover. Just, it didn't come with one. The town of New Marlborough had it before the gentleman I bought it from. And when he got it, it didn't have the top, so the batteries were exposed, but it didn't seem to matter. It worked for him. I wanted the original lockdowns to work, so I used the angle iron on either side, drilled it out, attached the angle iron to the wood. The step up top probably came off of a shipwreck. I'm a wreck diver. I was a wreck diver. Hope to get back to it someday. But after this is done, because I need a truck. I also needed a truck to tow my boat. Tough to tow my boat in Prius. But so I just drilled some holes in here so these block nails work. It's nice. They do work. It's a nice heavy battery. It slides right on. Nice heavy battery cover. Slides right on. There we go. It's got four 12-volt batteries, each side rigged up in series. And why is this zooming in? There we go. This set can crank it, this set can't crank it. But combined, they can crank it and provide enough reserve that I can crank it for about 5-10 minutes without winding down. I rigged it up into a dual battery switch. This is a little 24 volt to 12 volt inverter. Like I said, it won't crank on 1, it will crank on 2, and it will really crank on 1 and 2. Some of the other projects I've had to do is install seat belts. Basic safety. It's only registered for two people. I'm in the process of installing a reversing switch. I'm going to bolt that plate in. That's a momentary switch right there. I'm going to push the shift forward. It'll engage the momentary switch and turn on reversing lights and a beeper. I've rigged up a 12-volt system underneath the glove compartment here. I've already run 18 gauge wire down the length of the vehicle to the rear. I have a set of 4 LEDs and the reversing beeper. When I acquired the vehicle, the tailgate was attached. And as I learned, it was attached pretty much by one pin. The others, I thought when I put the tailgate up and down that they were hinging. You know, the pintle, the gudgeon, that was kind of hinging. And what actually was happening was the metal was fatiguing, until one day I put the tailgate down and it fell off in my arms. My knees nearly popped out of the sockets, and I swear I shrank an inch. But I was able to get it over there, and I've since started working on taking the pins out of the hinges. A little bit of line of corrosion between the pin and the hinge. And I'm hoping I can drill in all around the pin on either side, fill it full of acid, and a rust-destroying acid, and just kind of burn it out that way. So, I mean, I've tried heating these things up. I mean, I've got this thermal blanket. This stuff is rated to like 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. I wrap the hinge up and heat it up with a torch, but it's winter time. I mean, I really can't get it to the temperature I need to pop the pin. I did do a lot of work on the bed itself. I hit it with Osfo. It's a type of phosphoric acid. Cleaned the rust right out of it. It's heavily corroded. When the town of New Marlborough had it, they used it as a chloride truck. So all the rust damage to the vehicle is pretty much from the center axle aft, and also the front fenders in the vehicle driving through the salt yard, kicking up this chloride up into the fender wells. So there was a lot of rust on it. Not so much to make it hazardous, but enough to be noticeable. So I've got a bunch of projects ahead of me. The sides do kind of flex a little because the supports are rotted out, but that metal is like, that stuff is stronger than most pickup trucks, even rotted out. So I'm just going to be welding in some channel iron to stiffen those up. Like I said, I'm just using it for general utility. I may someday build a camper into the back of this, an Alaska camper, so that when folded down, the top of the camper is just slightly above the cab, and then try to make it look like a cargo with a canvas over the top, and then raise it up to full height. It's the bed is 7 feet wide by 14 feet long, so I think I can build a house in this thing. I did add the canopy, so I can wrench on it over the winter. Truck's 25 feet long. All I could afford for the canopy was 20 feet long, so do the math. Another project I had to do is replace this light. This is a brand new light. The one that was on it was not only cracked and full of water, but it was the wrong type of light. Someone had installed a little jumper inside. It only had, let's see, this one has 4 cables going in. The other one only had 3. So, and well, like I said, it was cracked, it was full of water, but when I dried it out, one of the lights still worked. The biggest project on this vehicle has been the fuel filter. Now this is a Rube Goldberg assembly I made from a Wix kit. It's got a separate fuel water separator and a separate fuel filter. Now the old canister rig that came with the truck were notorious for sucking air. There was a big fuel bolt up here that attached this drum down here that held the filter and the water separator. It was all kind of in one unit, and it needed O-rings. The O-rings would leak. It would suck air, and the engine would just would literally embolize. So I rigged up this Wix kit. Now I've since learned that Wix also makes a single unit filter and water separator. I was able to start it using this rig. I also replaced the fuel lines fore and aft. I pulled the fuel pickup tube out of the tank, put a new gasket in it, put new bolts. Everything looked good. I put pipe dope on all the threads. I think I got everything sealed up. But when I started it, ran for about 2 minutes and then vapor locked. So now what I've done is I've covered up all. So what I did is I tightened all the fittings. I mean, one of the plugs in the back was a little loose, so that could have been where the air was coming in. After it stalled, I dropped both filters, and they were half full of fuel. So it's just telling me that air is still seeping into the system and embolizing the engine. But I didn't want to take any chances, so I've been covering everything with liquid electric tape to seal up any possible air ingress. She still has the original paint on the frame. Previous owner used the old motor oil to schmutz the engine, all the metal, to prevent corrosion, but I mean, the air lines, all the fittings, there's really a lot of rust. The brake lines are in great shape. Engine's real clean. That's what kind of prompted me to buy it. I mean, we did get this running. I did take it on a test drive. The former owner, the day after I bought it, the former owner tore the fuel system apart, put I think a filter for like an EF-150 Ford on it, and ran it off a boat tank, and started right up, ran fine. So we know the problem is in the filter assembly or in the tank.